Yo, hey, what's up guys? We finally got some information about the new ultimate form and it's about time. I did not do videos on the other forms because I thought it's a little bit unnecessary to talk about all that when we do not know the mechanics behind the boss. But we are lucky. We finally got some information about that all because it's kind of revealing what they did on the passive and all that. So let's talk about the boss. He will have an affinity when he changes into his thing. I assume that he will take a different affinity every time he is just flipping around. And the skills actually are revealing that he is flipping around. But let's just go into the skills. The A1 attacks all enemies, places a provoke debuff for 1 turn. If a target has 50% or less, if a target has less than 50% HP, places a provoke debuff for 2 turns instead. That is nasty. For real, that is nasty. 2 turns? You would never want to drop beneath 50% when he does his A1. For 2 turns instead, also places a 30% decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. So if you drop under 50% and he does his A1, you would never take a turn again. Like, I don't know the speeds and all that, but to be honest, that is nasty. A2 attacks all enemies. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 10% for each debuff on the new Clanboss. Do we want to have new, like, a million of poisons? I don't know. Like, yes, but no. So yeah, and also places a 30% increased speed buff on the new Clanboss. So if he does his A1, you have less than 50%, you get 2 turn provoke plus the decreased speed. Then he uses his A2. He gets the increased speed. You never take a turn again. You really never take a turn again. Maybe just the speed of the boss is just 180, then maybe you have enough wiggle room, okay. But yeah, let's go for the A3. Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, removes all buffs from all enemies. So you gotta face the damage, to be honest. The damage inflicted by this skill increases by 10% for each buff removed. So you don't want to have debuffs? You don't want to have buffs on the right situation? It is speed tunable at the moment. This it kind of depends when he goes into his second form, what kind of turn meter he has. But could be, like, just it could be. So in the passive, transforms the new Clanboss into the ram, lion or viper form. So that's where we know it will be a single target boss. And that's what I like to see. I thought that's maybe a multiple target, everything is on the board at the same time. And actually I don't want it. It would be a RNG fest. But if you just have one target that flips into his ultimate form, then flips back into his normal forms, but on random, it is kind of okay, it is how it is, you gotta deal with that. But I like it way more if it's just a single target instead of 4 or 5 things at the same time. You have to consider everything, get your cooldowns ready and all that. That would be too nasty. But what I see right here, it is just a single target that has one form, and then it changes, it has another form and changes back randomly to those lion form or whatever. So the next passive receives 10% less damage for each enemy with no buffs, stacks up to 50%. So you kind of want buffs in the right situation, probably when he does not do his A3. Sorry. But yeah, you kind of want buffs. Obviously you want buffs to withstand all the thingies, but also you don't want, it's kind of tricky, we have to see how it turns out in the game. Also places receives 50% less damage from enemies under provoke debuff. So yeah, the A1, you just cannot rely on super strong A1 power on your damage dealers and just kind of bypass that you got provoked because you do the damage anyway. So you will lose your damage right here. Yeah, okay, it is how it is. And now, that is the juicy part where we kind of see it's a single target one. And there are effects when you flip them back, and I kind of also see how he's gonna transform. But now, for every 3 trials completed, the new Clanboss ultimate form will receive the following bonuses effects on stat boosts. So that really tells me you probably kill the lion form. Probably it has a HP bar. You kill him, then he will transform. Then you have to kill him again, and then of course he transforms back. But every like three rotations he comes back into his normal form, he will gain bonuses. So let's talk about the bonuses. 1 to 3 trials, I think that is just the starting one, just 1 to 3 trials. I don't know if that means like 1 to 3 times 3 rotations. So like one trial is actually 3 rotations. I'm not too sure about it. It kind of sounds like this, that you actually go 3 rotation, 1 trial is over. Then 3 rotation, 1 trial is over. Or something like this. Can't really tell. But, or at least I think 1 trial means like 1 back and forth. We have to see that one. We will see it when it's in the game. But 1 to 3 trial ignores unkillable buff. And he gains 5% attack. 4 to 6 trials, it will ignore block damage and also will get crit damage by 5%. Then 7 to 9 trials, ignores defense by 25%. That's where it gets kind of nasty. And crit rate plus 5%. So he will get crit rate. Means we have to be more tanky and all that. 10 to 12 trials, ignores damage reduction from anything except buffs and debuffs, and he also gets 10% more attack. Like he gets nastier over time. But that's what I thought what is coming around of a Clanboss. He need to ramp up his damage, or else we just go to 1500 skills just right away. But 13 to 15 trials, ignores ally protection buff. Crit damage gets increased by 10% also. 16 to 18 ignores defense by 50% and crit rate plus 10. I think that is like he flat out gets 10% more crit rate. He gets more crit rate in the other one. So his crit rate also ramps up. 19 to 21 trials, ignores strengthen buffs. Nasty. Attacks is plus 15% right here. And on 22 to 24 trials, ignore shield buff and crit damage gets boosted by 15%. 25 to 27 trials, ignores defense by 100%. That's where it gets really nasty, like for real. He will hit you every time with the highest amount on damage he can do. And the crit rate is up to 15%. So overall, he probably has like a 50% crit rate. He gets crit damage more attack and all that. And he will ignore a bunch of things on you. So he's kind of, he makes you struggle for it if the fight goes longer. And that is kind of usual for us. So nothing new there, and I dig it. Like that's what they have to do, or else everybody would just go endlessly, go to the turn limit, and that's it. But also, if you go to 25 to 27 and you have a team that survives all this nastiness, then you are safe. There's nothing else that is different than that. So that should be your goal. Have a lot of HP because he has the ignored defense. Basically that's it. Have a lot of HP, a lot of healing, and on the end you could just withstand it. So let's talk about the other passive. We don't have to talk about the other passive. Immune to petrification, a whole bunch of CCs. I don't want to read that all, but there's one thing that I have seen that might is not on the other. I'm not too sure about it, but Enfeeble, do you guys remember if Enfeeble was on the other versions of the boss? So maybe Enfeeble could be, maybe I'm wrong, but Enfeeble could be, if the other boss forms does not have immunity about it, could be really nice for you, to be honest. Like even like a buff steal or something. If it's actually in attacking, then you can just weak attack and you don't get your buff stolen. So that could be really nasty. But like I said, I'm not too sure if that even was a thing on the others. But yeah, incoming damage from these and that, HP burns, poisons and all that cannot be be more than what they say right here. So basically a normal passive. Overall, it gave me hope, to be honest. I thought it's gonna be a multi-target thing like Hydra, where you have to put out block active skills and true fear and all that over and over and over to have some control. But it seems like you can control them and they're just a single target one that flips back and forth and getting stronger while he does it. It's kind of a natural thing. So you kind of gotta prepare for everything ahead a little bit different. but it seems like a good boss for me at the moment, if I'm right, that you have to kill the current version of the form what they have right now, and then he will just transform to the other one, and yeah, so we can kind of have nice control over there, and everything will be a little bit more stable. That's what I like. The boss getting more damage, that is totally normal. Of course, we gotta build for it. Hopefully we can survive the last super hits, because on the Clanboss, to be honest, the normal Clanboss, you go in there and at some point you will get smacked if you don't have like block damage or a super Wixwell shield that he cannot do the damage. But yeah, at some point you will get killed, to be honest. But that's about it. Ultimate form seems like okay. Not the craziest, but also not the weakest. Seems cool. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done already, and have a nice day.